It was a spring of 2009, I believe, that I started having some pain upon urination. And so this condition I see, interstitial cystitis, has to do with, your eliminative channels, kidneys, urinary tract. So I thought I was just having normal urinary tract infections. And so at that time, I didn't even know about raw. I did try to heal myself from those little annoyances naturally, but these were very painful bouts of what I thought was a UTI. And so I went to the doctors to figure out what was going on. And, they took the culture and the symptoms matched up with a UTI so well that the doctors just assumed that the culture would come back with some bacterial growth. And so they put me on antibiotics, and I would go home, and this happened a couple times. And when that would happen to me in the past, I would just automatically start drinking water, stop drinking coffee, change my diet a little bit, and so the symptoms would ease up.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the antibiotics that was helping me. It was just the change in my diet that was helping me. Yeah. And I didn't realize it until months later when this happened again, and the antibiotics just didn't work. And so I called up the doctor and asked him, was there any bacterial growth in the culture either time? And the doctor said no. He looked on the chart, he looked back, and he said, oh, there was no bacterial growth. And I said, well, that's why the antibiotics didn't work.
Yeah.
And so that kind of left me really confused as to what was actually going on. And I talk about this angel who came to me. She's a real life person. She's a massage therapist here in the Poconos of Pennsylvania. And she sat down next to me at a luncheon, and I was describing my symptoms. And she said that it sounded like IC, or interstitial cystitis. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, well, what is that? And she said, well, it's a condition of being too acid for too long, and the mucus lining of the urinary tract has been worn away.
Yeah.
I started looking into YouTube for, this acid-alkaline balance stuff. And I Google searched something, or YouTube searched something. It was health or food or something like that. And Dan the Man with the Master Plan, Life Regenerator came up.
Cool.
And I started watching his videos on raw food. And I just instantaneously knew that was the answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so within a day, I had emptied my cabinets of all processed foods and went to the store and just filled my refrigerator up with greens, and I got a cheap blender, and it's just been wonderful since then. I was pain free within a few days.
Wow.
And there was just a low grade level of pain that I would sense for about a month or so.
Yeah.
But for the most part, most of the pain was gone.
So that's very quick. That's fantastic. And that is just from, did you just go 100% raw, or did you just add in juices or smoothies to what you're normally doing? What did you do?
Well, I did what every raw foodist tells you not to do. I went 100% raw right away.
Yeah. Well, funny, I don't tell people not to do that. I just say it depends on your personality, and it also depends on how serious your condition is.
Yes.
If you're in perfect health, don't stress about it. Just break it in easy. If that's the sort of person you are, or if you like to dive in. But if you have a serious health condition, then maybe it's more urgent, and then maybe you need to take some massive action. So it really depends on the person. So fair play to you.
Yeah. I definitely learned that. I've learned that along the way. I was just so, completely had a lack of knowledge about this whole raw movement. And, I was, before, I got IC, I had IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, lactose intolerance, gluten intolerance, all these digestive issues that, I didn't see really until I was about 25. I'm 39 now.
Yeah.
And that was after moving off the farm when I was about 10. So from 10 to 25, eating a more processed food. It took that long or that short of time, depending on how you see it, for all of these issues to come up with me. And there's no answers to that. I know several people who have IBS or lactose intolerance or gluten intolerance.
Yeah.
And they just think that they have to live with these issues for the rest of their lives. So I was eating sort of a short list of food that I could eat, having all of those issues. I wasn't vegan. I wasn't vegetarian. I was just a standard American diet eater who was eating a short list of foods that I could eat. So I went from that to 100% raw the next day.
And how was
it's just
that?
been a learning ride the whole way.
Yeah. Did you get a cleansing crisis, or did you just start getting better?
I have come to the conclusion that I have a pretty weak liver. Spiritually, that has to do with a lot of anger, feeling a lot of anger in my life. And, physically, I can say, it was probably the standard American diet that I was eating with all the rancid fats and things like that.
Yeah.
From before. So I've always had, ever since I was about 25, always had conditions with my skin, and that's related to the liver. So that was just a little amplified,
right.
When I went raw. There was not really pimples, but more like boils on my face and my skin. But that's really it. I did a 10-day juice fast in there after I had been raw for a little while to allow it to go a little deeper. And it was right before the semester started, so I had about 2 weeks. And I just felt like I had a sinus infection. I felt real groggy, and I slept a lot. And I know that was a healing crisis as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So nothing major. I didn't have any tumors popping out of my body or anything.
Okay, yeah, because I know many people, they'll go on a cleanse or they'll go raw, and they'll get such a big healing crisis that they think that, oh, this isn't good for me. Obviously, I'm getting sick here. This isn't good for me, and then they go back to eating their standard way, and then obviously the healing crisis goes away. So then they think, oh, I must be better off eating this. But it's important to get across that healing crises do happen, and it's a good thing if we start to get sick as we cleanse, or get tired or lethargic or break out in spots or rashes or anything. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah. It was. I knew I was going through a healing crisis. I probably learned that from watching one of Dan the Man's videos, and that's really my resistance to bringing this to a lot of people. I do talk to a lot of people about raw and the things that have happened to me, the wonderful things that have happened to me. But for the standard American diet eater who still puts all of their the responsibility of their health into their doctor's hands, this is just blasphemy. Saying something like that, like I need to detox from food. What are you talking about? This is what I eat, and I don't know. I've come across in the past 2 years so much resistance to this information and this new way of thinking, and it's a whole new paradigm.
Absolutely.
And you can't just download in one conversation, what this is all about. It's like going into taking a 4-year degree. You really have to study this new system, this new paradigm, this new way of actually, in my opinion, it's almost like becoming a self-actualized adult.
Yeah.
Where you really take responsibility for your health and your interpersonal relationships and everything.